Good evening. Welcome to the Kern County Planning Commission regular meeting, May 23rd, 2024. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Ashley?
Here.
Commissioner Dunbar?
Here.
Commissioner Nance?
Here.
Commissioner Oliver?
Here.
Commissioner Skidmore?
Here.
Mr. Murphy?
Here.
Mr. Hall?
Here.
Ms. Slayton?
We have a packed house this evening, so I'd like to please remind everyone to turn off cell phone, pagers, or electronic devices during our commission meeting. Moving on to item B, commission member announcements or reports. On their own initiative, commission members may make an announcement or report on their own activities. They may ask a question for clarification, make a referral to staff, or take action to have staff place a matter of business on a future agenda. Seeing none, we'll move on to approval of minutes from May 9th, 2024.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. All ayes.
Aye.
Motion passed. Item D, cases withdrawn or requests for continuance. We have item number 1. Mr. Murphy.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the Commission. This is General Plan Amendment 160, map 500. The applicant is the Kern County Planning and Natural Resources Department. This is our housing element. Staff is recommending that project be continued until your next meeting, June 13th, 2024. I would note that we were able to provide all of our required responses to HCD this past week. So I do fully anticipate having a full meeting and considering that project before your commission on that June 13th meeting. And that completes the reading of the items withdrawn or request for continuance.
Great, thank you. Do we need to entertain a motion?
Yes, ma'am, we do.
Great.
Move to approve the continuance as proposed.
No, second.
We have a motion and a second. We'll vote on screen.
All ayes, motion carries.
Thank you, commissioners. We are now on consent agenda. These items scheduled before the Planning Commission, which are being recommended for approval by the staff, and the applicant has been informed of any special conditions and has no objection. The hearing on these items may be expedited if no member of the commission or audience wishes to comment or ask questions. We have a new case, number 3. Mr. Murphy.
Thank you again, Madam Chair. So case number 3, this is CUP number 23, map 12420. Our applicant is A American Self-Storage by Josh Patterson. This project is located at 5970 South Union Avenue in the Bakersfield area. The specific request today is a conditional use permit to allow for 60 cargo containers to be used as additional storage units accessory to an existing mini warehouse on 2 parcels of record totaling approximately 2.1 acres on property that is zoned C2. The staff recommendation is to approve the conditional use permit in accordance with the recommended conditions and adopt the suggested findings as set forth in the draft resolution. That completes the reading of the consent calendar tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Murphy. Are there any members of the public who would like to pull this item off the consent agenda? Please come forward. Seeing none, are there any members of the commission who would like to pull this off? Great, seeing none, I will entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve.
We have a motion.
Second.
And a second. We'll vote on screen.
All ayes, motion carries.
Thank you. Is there a notice of right to appeal, Mr. Murphy?
There is. So for projects where the Planning Commission action is final, those actions are subject to an appeal to the Board of Supervisors by any interested person. No development proposed by any application may be authorized until after the final date of appeal. That appeal may be filed at the Kern County Planning and Natural Resources Department. The building is located at 2700 M Street, Suite 100 in Bakersfield with a filing fee. I believe we say 540, Madam Clerk. Didn't that just change to 572? $572 on forms we have available at the department and on the department website. That filing must be made within 14 days of and including the date of the hearing. If no appeal is received, the action of your commission is final.
Thank you, Mr. Murphy. We're now on to item F, public presentations. This portion of the meeting is reserved for persons desiring to address the commission on any matter not on this agenda and over which the commission has jurisdiction. Speakers are limited to 2 minutes. Please state your name and address for the record before making your presentation. If you're interested, please come forward. Seeing none, we'll move on to G, public hearings. Moving on to item number 2, Mr. Murphy.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm actually going to introduce Ms. Katrina Slayton. She will probably be introducing the staff planner on this project, who will be presenting this project to you.
Good evening, Commissioners. I am happy to
Chair.
introduce to you.
Sorry, Chair.
Yes, go ahead.
I wanted to say real quick, I'm going to go ahead and recuse myself from this item. I'll be stepping out.
Thank you so much. Please continue, Ms. Slayton.
Pleased to introduce to you Mr. Mark Tolentino, who is a staff planner for this project, who is prepared to give presentation tonight.
Good evening, Chair and Commissioners. The project before you tonight is the West Side Industrial Project by Seafree Industrial Properties. This project was originally scheduled to be considered on your May 9 agenda, however, was continued to tonight's hearing. The proposed project includes the construction and operation of a 653,442 square foot warehouse, distribution and logistics facility, also known in the industry as an inbound cross-dock center or fulfillment center on approximately 93.74 acres, located at the southeast corner of Houghton Road and Weiler Road, just over a mile south of metropolitan Bakersfield. Can you rotate? All right, as we get that settled, as shown in the aerial, the 93.74 acre project site is a portion of an existing 646 acre parcel that's currently zoned A, exclusive agriculture, with an underlying land use map code of RIA, which is resource intensive agriculture, by the Kern County Metropolitan Bakersfield General Plan. The overall site is currently utilized for a mix of agricultural uses, including an existing large animal feed operation at the northwest corner and row crops within the remaining area. As summarized in Table 2 on page 3 of the staff report, the land surrounding the proposed project site is predominantly agricultural as well, cultivated with row crops and orchards, with a few rural residences on home site parcels just west of the site across Weible Road. The next nearest residences are a cluster of rural homes about a half mile east of the site across South H Street. The actions before your commission tonight include an amendment to the land use element of the Kern County Metropolitan Bakersfield General Plan from map code RIA to LI, which is light industrial, or a more restrictive map code designation within the 93.74 acre project site. A zone change from A, exclusive agriculture, to M1 PD, light industrial precise development combining, or a more restrictive district on the site. A precise development plan for the proposed 653,442 square foot single-story warehouse and distribution facility and related improvements on the site, a conditional use permit to allow for the construction and operation of a permanent on-site wastewater treatment facility in the M1PD district, a second conditional use permit to allow for the construction operation of a temporary concrete batch plant, and finally, an agricultural exclusion of 93.74 acres within the boundaries of the Agricultural Preserve Number 10, Map 142. These requested actions are also listed on page 4 of the staff report. Next slide. Sorry. With approval, the project proponent would construct and operate the proposed fulfillment center to receive and consolidate products from vendors and ship these products to other fulfillment centers within the network. A detailed summary of the project characteristics is provided on pages 5 through 10 of the staff report, and a project description with greater detail is provided in Chapter 3 of the Environmental Impact Report as well. Construction would employ approximately 100 workers during the anticipated 16-month construction period, and once operational, the facility would operate 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, and typically consist of both day and night shifts. The facility would employ upwards of 1,800 employees during peak season, split into approximately 915 employees across 2 shifts, and upwards of 1,464 employees in non-peak season, split into 734 employees across 2 shifts. And the project proponent would also implement mitigation measures requiring efforts to hire at least 50% of its workforce locally. As mentioned previously, an environmental impact report was prepared for this project in accordance with California Environmental Quality Act, or CEQA guidelines, and pages 10 through 19 of your staff report detail the environmental review process. All 3 volumes of the EIR have been posted on websites for both the Planning Department, the State Clearinghouse, and were also provided to your commission, and we do have a copy up here today. While most of the project impacts can be reduced to less than significant levels of mitigation as outlined in the attached Exhibit C, Mitigation Monitoring and Reporting Program, or MMRP for short, staff has determined that implementation of the project would still result in significant and unavoidable impacts for the following environmental resources. Project level and cumulative impacts are expected to occur for aesthetics, agricultural and forestry resources, greenhouse gas emissions, and transportation and traffic, and cumulative impacts are expected to occur for air quality, hydrology and water quality, and utilities and service systems. A more detailed summary of this list is provided in Table 6 on pages 13 and 14 of your staff report. The final EIR contains 86 mitigation measures to reduce project and cumulative level impacts associated with this project to the greatest extent feasible. The proposed MMRP lists all of the required mitigation measures and once more is attached at the end of your staff report as Exhibit C. And recommended findings and overrides are also attached as Exhibits A and B. During the course of processing this request, a notice of public hearing was sent to all affected agencies, county departments, and property owners within 1,000 feet of the site. And as a result of the initial notification, staff received 5 comment letters from various county departments and agencies, including multiple divisions within Kern Public Works, Environmental Health, and Superintendent of Schools, with comments ranging in topics from no comment to recommended conditions of approval that include, but are not limited to, road improvements along the project frontage at Houghton and Weibel, proof of service for water and sewage disposal, submittal of drainage plans, coordination with the state water board for on-site facilities, and payment of statutory fees to benefit all affected school districts. However, after the distribution of the staff report for the May 9 Planning Commission hearing, 2 late comment letters were received from the Sierra Club and the Golden State Environmental Justice Alliance. An additional public comment was also provided at your May 9 public hearing by a nearby property owner and former resident of the area, reminding your commission of a catastrophic event involving a PG&E gas line rupture and explosion in the fall of 2015. And out of all of the comments received, staff received a total of 3 written comments and 1 public comment identifying specific project concerns that include, but are not limited to, conversion of agricultural land to industrial uses, distance of project to the PG&E gas line, potential increases in noise and traffic hazards resulting from the introduction of new trucking activity in the area, consideration of alternative sites, recommendations for project design features to conserve energy, reduce air pollution, and mitigate greenhouse gas emissions, potential impacts on biological resources, cumulative impacts, growth inducement, and the need for the project. Next slide. And then in response to the concern related to the land use conversion from agricultural to industrial, staff has recommended the inclusion of an agricultural conservation easement mitigation measure. This is largely due to the very recent determination by the 5th District Court of Appeal that ag conservation easements are a type of compensatory mitigation for the conversion of agricultural land, even though operating by themselves, they do not replace the converted land or otherwise result in no net loss of agricultural land. The determination was made this past March, just after the draft EIR began circulation February 20th. The ag conservation easement mitigation measure requires the project proponent mitigate for the loss of agricultural acreage at a 1-to-1 ratio. As discussed thoroughly in the addendum staff report on pages 20 to 28, staff has detailed the nexus to impose the determination for a 1-to-1 ratio. In that same section of the staff report, staff has also identified clarifications to the sections within the EIR to accommodate this changed mitigation to be incorporated as part of the final EIR. And although ag conservation easements have now been redetermined to be feasible mitigation, and despite implementation in the case of this project, impacts on agricultural resources as defined by CEQA will remain significant and unavoidable, both at the project level and cumulatively. And with regard to the project's proximity to any existing PG&E service lines, the Phase 1 environmental site assessment prepared for the project accounts for the natural gas pipeline that crosses through the northeast portion of the project site, and this is noted on page 4.9-2 in the hazards and hazardous materials section of the EIR. Recommended mitigation measures 4.9-8 and 9 require the project proponent contact the Underground Service Alert 1 call center at least 2 days prior to any ground disturbing activities and protocols in the event of an accidental pipeline rupture during excavation and construction activities. So no excavation activities would be permitted without that dig alert ticket number from the call center. And additionally, recommended mitigation measures MM 4.19-5 and 6, as outlined in the Utilities and Service Systems section of the AR. Those require that prior to issuance of grading or building permits, the project proponent coordinate with PG&E regarding any potential gas and electric services or facilities needed to adequately accommodate the proposed project. And then as for the remaining topics of concern, staff believes many of them have been adequately addressed already in the ER's Chapter 7, response to comments, as well as on pages 28 through 36 of the staff report. So staff believes the mitigation measures provided in the attached MMRP, as well as the recommended conditions of approval listed in the draft resolutions, are sufficient in addressing all impacts disclosed in the record of date. So after reviewing the project in its entirety, staff notes the following to support a recommendation of approval. The Sustainable Groundwater Management Act, or SGMA, mandates significant reductions in agricultural water that have forced farmland to be taken out of production. So while the existing 93.74 acres is being farmed today, it is now considered a temporary use until the full impact of SGMA is implemented. And the project would utilize that same acreage of eminently non-productive agricultural land to develop a sustainably designed logistics facility that would have drastically reduced water demand while helping meet increasing logistics demand in Southern California. The project is expected to provide a net fiscal benefit for Kern County by contributing $4.1 million in construction-related sales tax revenue, as well as an estimated $1.7 million in annual property taxes. The proposed project would support the economic development of Kern County by introducing the new logistics center that would contribute up to 100 jobs during peak construction, and of course, when fully operational, over 1,800 jobs during peak season and 1,400 employees during non-peak season. The proposed project would improve approximately 5.5 acres of project frontage along Houghton Road and Weibel Road to meet applicable Kern County standards, as well as install additional road improvements, including a traffic signal east of the site at Houghton Road and Union Avenue, and that would incidentally benefit residents and commuters in the vicinity of the project. The project would provide incentives and support for alternative modes of transportation, including carpooling, public transit use, and bicycling, thereby improving and expanding the alternative transportation system in this rural part of Kern County. And finally, the proposed project would include modern stormwater drainage, wastewater, and electrical power facilities that could incidentally benefit residents by offsetting future demand on utility and energy service providers in the area. So therefore, the department recommendation is to advise the Planning Commission to recommend the Board of Supervisors to certify the environmental impact report, adopt CEQA sections 15091, findings of fact, and 15093, statement of overriding considerations, adopt the mitigation monitoring and reporting program, approve the amendment to the land use element of the Kern County Metropolitan Bakersfield General Plan as requested, enact ordinance and adopt resolution approving zone classification change as requested, approve conditional use permits subject to the recommended conditions of approval, approve precise development plan subject to recommended conditions, approve the agricultural exclusion from agricultural preserve number 10 as requested, and finally adopt the suggested findings as set forth in the attached draft resolutions. And before we conclude, I'd like to turn it over to Craig Murphy to elaborate on some additional mitigation. Thank you.
Madam Chair, members of the commission, I actually think that the presentation summarized everything that I was going to say. I was just going to indicate that this was continued from your previous hearing based on comments received. Staff has diligently looked at those comments. We brought changes to the project before you today, which include now a requirement to mitigate for the loss of ag land. This project includes a VERA, just like many other projects, where all construction and mobile emissions and operation emissions would have to be reduced to a level below even what the air district would typically require. Staff does believe that this project is complete and ready for your consideration today, and we'd be happy to answer any questions you have either now or after public testimony occurs. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Murphy. Thank you, Mr. Tolentino. If the commissioners don't have any immediate questions I don't see any. We're going to open it up for public comment. We're going to go from 2 to 3 minutes, and so if you're interested in making a public comment in support or opposition of the project, please come forward, state your name for the record, and spell your last name for us.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
Just typically, it's customary to have our applicant provide the first set of comments before you open it up for everybody
Okay,
else.
perfect. I'm sorry about that. We're going to have our applicant get started, and then we'll bring it to you. Mic check.
Am I on? Hello? Hello?
There you go. Please state your name for the record.
My name is Scott Irwin. I work with Seafried Industrial Properties. I am the applicant developer for the project. Our firm is a national firm. I'm based down in Los Angeles. This would be my second project here in Kern County. I was going to go over a lot of the project features, but Mark and Craig did an insanely impressive job. I've been to a lot of hearings, and this was very thorough. We have been working on this project for, I want to say 3 to 4 years. It's taken a couple different shapes, forms, and we're excited to be here tonight. It's been a big work in progress. I think Mark already stated the jobs that we're going to bring full-time, as well as you'll see a handful of guys here behind me, and gals, for the construction jobs, which everyone has an interest in. So we're really excited to have this economic activity come here to Kern County. One thing that maybe wasn't highlighted is our client here is committed to this climate change and big initiatives here. And so we will be doing 200 of the 1,000 stalls, 200 will be EV stalls. So we're excited to do that. We have some other green features that we've been implementing as well. And the structural design of the building will be solar ready. So anticipate, not a commitment, but probably we'll put, look to be doing something like that down the road as well. So very excited. Thank you, the entire staff. I know Lorelai's here, she's not here tonight, but just a really a great community to work in as far as responsiveness. So thank you again to the county, the staff, for all the hard work, and I'm here for any questions. Appreciate you being here this evening, so thank you again.
Thank you very much. All right, now we'll open it up for public comment. Please come forward, state your name, and spell your last name for the record.
My name is Hertz Ramirez, spelled R-A-M-I-R-E-Z, and I'm here on behalf of 2,400 members of the Laborers International Union of North America, Local 220, based here in Bakersfield, California. Just here to, show our approval of this project, that, we're the developers committed to use a local workforce and do it right with the most skilled and trained workforce they could find. And so, instead of having each of these men and women come up and ask that you approve this project, I just strongly urge that we move this project forward. It's good for the economy, it's good for the county, and it's good for hardworking men and women of LIUNA and other trades. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good evening, commissioners and staff. My name is Josh Taylor, and I am the president of Carpenters Local 743, representing over 1,000 skilled men and women here in Kern County, and I am here to speak in strong support of Westside Industrial Project by Seafried Industrial Properties. This project development will bring a number of community benefits. The developer has already committed to work with contractors that are going to hire locally and utilize apprentices from state-accredited apprenticeship programs. The Carpenters Training Programs, as well as others, are located here locally in Kern County, as well as the hiring halls through which construction workers will be dispatched to work on the project. This extremely local aspect aids in reducing vehicle miles traveled, which in turn assists in the state's GHG reduction goals. The skilled workers that will build the project through the contractors and developers are trained in efficiency, productivity, safety, and professionalism. I'd like to express my strong support for this project, as I believe that it will benefit the environment and the local economy by practicing protocols that will protect worker health and safety and incorporate adequate environmental mitigation. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good evening, Chair, Commissioners. My name is Ralph Felidor. I'm here with Southern California District Council of Laborers, and most importantly, like my partner said, the members that are here today. They wholeheartedly depend on work like this to go to work every day. And one thing that we do, along with our other partners are over here, is that we work ourselves out of a job after every project. And it takes good, responsible developers like this to keep us employed. They hire the highest quality contractors who hire the best craftsmen in the world to do this work. I myself, I'm a United States Army veteran, and when I got out 33 years ago, the work I did in the Army didn't exactly translate to civilian life. But this union gave me an opportunity, and that opportunity would not have been there if it weren't for developers like this who hired responsible contractors that hire the best to go out there and get this work done. We urge you today to support this project so we can go out and build you a state-of-the-art project, and then we can fill it with those 1,800 folks to work in there, those 24-hour shifts, so we can put people from Bakersfield to work. We know that people are driving far off places to go to work every day, and people deserve to be close to home so they can spend quality time with their families. And that's what we're asking for tonight. Thank you so much.
Sir, will you spell your last name for us?
Velador, V-E-L-A-D-O-R.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Is there anyone else interested in providing comment in support or opposition of the project?
My name is Gordon Knipp. I'm the Vice Chair and Litigation Chair of the local Sierra Club chapter. We've submitted 11 pages of comments on this project in an attempt to make it a better project for our community. And I want to bring up some issues having to do with some of the mitigation measures for this project. Of course, you're not giving me any time to speak here for 11 pages of comments. There's no way that I can talk about it. I can talk about enough of this. And by the way, last time I was here, you told me that I shouldn't use too much of your precious time. I'd like to point out that at age 83, perhaps my time is at least as precious as yours, and perhaps more so. And given my nearly 50 years of working on planning issues and testifying before various planning commissions, I would suggest that perhaps listening to even 3 or 4 minutes of my precious time might be to your benefit. Nonetheless, I'm going to be brief here. Like I say, I want to bring up some issues having to do with some of the mitigation measures for this project. For a couple of them, the issue is that our local community may not see the benefits of the mitigation. One mitigation measure requires the developer to sign a developer mitigation agreement with the air district to offset the air pollution that's associated with the project. But there's no requirement that air pollution mitigation projects take place here locally. The city of Stockton or somewhere else in the North Valley could benefit from the cleaner air resulting from this agreement. Bakersfield, if that is the case, then Bakersfield's already dreadfully dirty air is going to get dirtier because of this project. Why would you not require the clean air benefits to be here, where the impact is? If you, as area citizens, want to breathe cleaner air, you should insist on provisions that the air pollution mitigation projects be situated in the area of the impact, at the very least in the southern San Joaquin Valley, not in Stockton. For farmland loss, as a result of Sierra Club urgings, the county is now requiring agricultural conservation easements as mitigation for the conversion of 94 acres of farmland. But the measure specifically states that the preserved farmland can be elsewhere, maybe in Madera County or maybe in San Joaquin County. That requirement should be strengthened by compelling mitigation land to be local in Kern County. Why would you, as representatives of our community in the planning process, give away these benefits of much-needed air pollution and farmland loss mitigation to some northern county rather than here at home? Well, I see that you want me to stop, and so let me pass this on to some other folks.
Thank you, Mr. Nip.
Good evening. My name is Lori Pasante, and I share Mr. Nip's desire for a better project. And so I wanted to note that the EIR has a lot of aspirational language in it, a lot of may and probably, but nothing that actually requires this to do the things that we all want it to do. And so I really want to make it a better project. I really want the EIR to put more definitive language in there, not vague and equivocal language that can be weaseled out of later. Because everybody who stands to benefit from this project on a local level also lives here. And we're already #1 in the country for ozone. Ozone, by the way, that's smog, right? You like a sunburn for your lungs? I don't, right? And over 65% of our population fit into those sensitive groups that will have asthma attacks and other issues related to ozone. We're #1 in the country for ozone. We want this to be a better project by strengthening the language in the EIR. Strengthen it. Also, several analyses have been deferred until after approval or just before approval. How can you as commissioners make an informed decision to approve this project without having required information related to whether or not it's actually going to do what it says it's going to do? Also, union jobs are being left on the table here. In the Sierra Club letter that was submitted, I went through and I wrote a star next to every item in there that has to do with providing benefits to workers, benefits to the local area around where the project is located, which, by the way, I grew up around there, and I've spent most of my adult life living in that area, so I know how much we could benefit from some of the mitigation practices that are listed in the Sierra Club report. And if they were required in the EIR, they would produce more union jobs. I think we're really missing an opportunity here to do the right thing for the local community and the right thing related to climate change, which, by the way, my insurance was just canceled. And I don't know if anybody in this room has been told that their insurance is going to be canceled too, but guess what? Prepare yourselves. It's probably going to happen because insurance companies are pulling out of the state of California because of why? Climate impacts. We are on the 12th month in a row of the highest average global temperatures ever. We're at 1.5 degrees Celsius above the Industrial Revolution levels of temperature. It's only going to get worse, and by producing totally insufficient EIRs like this, you're going to be part of the problem.
Thank you. Is there anyone else interested in making a public comment? Please come forward. Okay, seeing no movement, we're going to close this portion of the public comment. Mr. Nip, I would like to apologize for last meeting and you not feeling heard, and that was something on my part, so I wanted to personally apologize. Bringing it back to the commission, are there any commission member thoughts, questions, concerns? Nothing? Does anyone want to make a motion then?
I will make a couple of comments first, and I'll leave some time for fellow commissioners. I work on projects as well that have some of these, the mitigation, similar mitigation that Mr. Nip referred to. First of all, the one regarding where the monies are spent. I mean, we're all in the same air basin, and I would say that's not a function of not wanting to have projects funded for those types of dollars here. It's the projects that don't exist. People don't bring them forward. So there is money to be spent and money to be received for benefits to air. Just happens to be that no one in this area of the valley brings those forward. And so that money often does go to where the projects are brought forward. And it's unfortunate it happens to work like that. The other piece is about the ag conservation easements. We know that they're not available in Kern County, and that's why for a long time Kern County didn't require that mitigation measure is because we can't find them. And so it's one that was impossible to implement. And I know, because I'm going through this personally as we speak, it's an issue finding them. So I don't think it's an attempt to funnel those dollars somewhere else. I think it's availability of those ag mitigation, ag easements. And if I'm wrong about that, we'd love to hear about it. I think it's pretty obvious that this is an area of business that Kern County is pretty well suited for. And we do see a lot of this type of activity up and down 99 specifically, the 99 corridor. And it's something that fits for us, and I think it's going to continue to come here. And I think we need to be supportive of these types of jobs and these types of operations in the area. And generally, I'm supportive of the project and would make a motion, but I'm ready to hear from the other commissioners as well.
Thank you, Commissioner Ashley. Anyone else?
Yeah, I have a question real quick. Can we have Mr. Irwin come back up here real quick? Mr. Irwin, thank you so much for bringing this project forward here. And I read a lot through it. And in regards to the EV stalls, thank you as well. As a Tesla driver myself, we can appreciate that.
Yeah.
And I hope that those are going to be superchargers.
Yeah, no, there will be, and those trucks, and I mean, look, when, I think eventually you'll see the 1,000 stalls, they're all gonna be EV. It's
They're
just-
needed in that area.
You know, there's a healthy art form of getting all the cars to be EV, right? When they're not, there's just parking in a stall with an EV that's sitting there that doesn't do anything, right?
This kind of project I think is needed in our county. I think that one of my concerns, though, also, as a real estate guy myself, is the traffic and things like that. And can you explain a little bit what we're doing in regards to the impact on the roads there in regards to this project?
Yeah, and I have my traffic engineer here as well, Joe, so he's maybe can speak to some of the questions, but we will be improving, I believe, all of Houghton to 99 or a good portion, and maybe, let him.
And what was your name, sir?
It's Joe Schultz, last name Schultz. And so, yeah, as part of this project, there's going to be half-width improvements along Houghton and Weibel Road. Construct the initial improvements to, spur some future development out there. In addition to that, there's off-site improvement located at Union and Houghton. So that's going to be a intersection upgrade, signalization. We've identified some deficiencies at that location and going to get that one operating a little bit better prior to these trips being added to the network.
Yeah, I know that the city of Bakersfield is also developing a lot of stuff just northeast of there as well. And so that area is going to see a lot of development, not just from the county, but the city as well. And I think that we're going to see some increased traffic, and I'm concerned in regards to some of our roads and such. So that's...
Yeah.
Well,
And
where do you see the majority of the traffic through your studies coming through off of, I would imagine, the 99?
majority of it is coming off the 99. That is why this project was required to get presented to Caltrans. We went through several iterations, reviews, cycles with them. Make sure that, the queuing wouldn't extend to the mainline freeways, that, the additional trips at that location, that they wouldn't be, they'd have means to get through that intersection, and also looked at some collisions and some safety analysis as well as part of that study.
So what specific improvements are you going to be implementing on that road?
At this road, along this road, it's adjacent to the project and then at the offsite intersection of Union and Houghton. So based on the analysis that we have done, given that most of the trips are coming off that freeway, making a southbound right, it's a lot less of an impact in movement than making like a left-hand turn, so to speak. So ran the analysis and showing that with the addition of the traffic, with the addition of growth in the area, this project is not going to trigger those deficiencies at the location. Caltrans is well aware that, yes, this is a future location that we need to start looking at some improvements. They were certainly happy to have this project come in to, kind of start that, hopefully kind of spur that.
So you don't think that with all the additional traffic that your project is going to be bringing in, that you shouldn't be responsible for helping build up these roads or anything else with the additional impact on those roads?
Not based on the existing traffic and the patterns that we studied. It's definitely, with more buildings in the area coming in as more development it does occur, Caltrans is going to want to look at some potential interchange improvements in the future.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Oliver, with your indulgence, I have some additional information I can provide on that comment specifically.
That'd be wonderful, thank you.
Okay. So first, real quick, I just wanted to point out that mitigation 4.17-1 specifies the specific improvements. So prior to the certificate of occupancy, the project shall be improved with the following features. Intersection number 6, Houghton Road, Union Avenue, shall be improved with the following features. Northbound, they have to modify the raised median to provide left turn pocket, through lane, and through right turn lane. Southbound, the existing left turn pocket for 140 feet, a through lane and through right turn lane. Eastbound, existing shared left turn through and a right turn lane. Westbound, existing shared left turn through lane and a right turn pocket for 100 feet. And then signalization intersection providing the northbound, southbound, and protected left turn phasing on the eastbound, westbound permissive phasing. So that is in addition. This project is located within Metro Bakersfield, which is also subject to the traffic impact fee that has to be submitted anytime you have a building permit. And for your, or the commission's complete understanding too, there's a number of projects that are identified that has been identified based on correspondence and communications with the city of Bakersfield. And then when those improvements are triggered, then the city and the county actually go through and then implement some of those. So this analysis was specific to what this project needs to do, not counting the stuff that's been accounted for, because they still have the requirement to go through those as well. So I just wanted to kind of provide some of more, a little bit comprehensively regarding how we look at that specifically. And then also, if you need, we have a representative from the Public Works Department in our traffic unit to provide any additional comments if you need questions regarding how that coordination between the county and the city and things work.
Well, wonderful, thank you so much. That answered my question.
Thank you, Commissioner Oliver. Any other questions or comments? I have some additional comments and a potential question. I do want to thank Mr. Tolentino for addressing the ACE situation as stated in the Sierra Club letter. As I was reading through their letter and the packet, that was an issue that I wanted addressed, and so I appreciate that coming up as a topic today. I also wanted to discuss Ms. Ruckman's comments from the last meeting regarding the PG&E gas line. I think staff has done a great job highlighting some of the mitigation measures, 4.9-8 and 4.9-9. But I did have a question regarding mitigation measure 4.9-9, which talks about if a pipeline is ruptured, the emergency protocol that goes into place. One of the things that's not mentioned is kind of contacting local residents if that rupture does occur. I don't know if that's part of any of the emergency response kind of next steps, or if that's a mitigation measure that could be considered.
Just
Of course, go for it.
yeah. So if you have a map that shows where that PG&E line is, it's on like the far corner. It's really on the adjacent site, and it just barely crosses through. Farming is done on that site right now.
Okay.
So I don't know what they're running on that, but envisioning heavy equipment. It also sits. We wouldn't pothole it because we have the same concern, right? If we bust that,
Yeah.
we're a little bummed, right? That's on me.
Yeah.
That's how I have a really bad day. So that sits down. We wouldn't pothole it. We worked with PG&E. They were out there a couple weeks ago. We've gone down. That line sits like 12 feet down, so it's down there. And then since it's on that corner, all we're really doing, like maybe you do a little bit of grading on that, but we're not going deep. We're not putting footings. We're not getting structural there. So it's really just over one of the basins. So Something we'll be completely mindful. I think just we've evaluated the risk very heavily. Given we met with PG&E, we're working with them directly. It's a sizable line. It's far down, so I really don't think it's going to be a material risk out there.
I appreciate those comments.
Madam Chair, one more thought on that, if you don't mind.
Of course.
So I was looking I looked at the mitigation measure, and clearly there are measures that they need to contact the fire department. We clearly could add more to this if you think is necessary. The only thing I would say, though, is the fire department is now responsible, if they are contacted, getting the word out, making sure evacuations occur, everything in a better orderly fashion. I would be concerned if you put a condition on this that required them to do something, because I would hate for that to conflict with what the fire department or our emergency services would actually like to have happen. So because we have information in there about contacting the fire department and the fire station directly, my personal opinion is I think that's the best or the most appropriate thing. And adding additional language could potentially create a situation where by thinking we're trying to help, we may create more chaos. And I think it's just most appropriate that the fire agency and emergency service would be the ones. We have a reverse 911 that people could get information out. And I just think it'd be more appropriate for them to provide that direction as opposed to having a private developer do that specifically.
Okay. Is there ever a measure where you can ask the developer, maybe after the fact, to contact residents that might have been affected by the breach of the gas line?
We could. Again, just based on how it goes, I think a more appropriate would be is that they would submit a report to the county, kind of summarizing what they did. I believe that PG&E would already require that or anything along those lines. But I think it would be more appropriate that if you wanted to put something like that, that's provided where it's submitted to the county. So again, then the county can have that information and then disseminate it the most appropriate way that they believe would be necessary from that aspect of it.
Okay. Thank you. Any other commission questions, comments, or concerns? Okay, seeing none, I will entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. We will vote on screen.
Four ayes, one abstained, one not voted, motion carries.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, just for the benefit of everybody involved, tonight's action was a recommendation by your commission. A new public hearing notice will be sent out advertising when the project would be considered by the Board of Supervisors, but that's anticipated in the June window near the end of June.
Great, thank you. We'll let the room clear out for about a minute and then we'll resume. Okay, we've almost cleared out majority of the room. We're going to move on to, let's see, one's taken care of, two's taken care of, and three's taken care of. So we're on adjournment. The next Planning Commission meeting is scheduled for June 13th, 2024. I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
I have a motion and a second and a third. All ayes?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, everyone.